speakers in the back. We have our mayor, we have our governor, so please, we need all the energy we can drum up. We need energy and excitement is contagious, right? Enthusiasm is contagious, so I hope you all get excited. Today is not just kind of a laid back, get excited today as we have our speakers. I am a small business owner myself, native of Philadelphia, own this space here, the P4 Hub, so welcome all to our P4 Hub. 4,500 square feet you see here with another 7,500 square feet back there that without the help of the city, the state, the governor, and really the individuals who have been supporting us for many years, we wouldn't be here. We have our developer, Mosaic Development, who's here as well. So just excited to be able to be here and talk about small business ownership. It's important. It's the heartbeat, if you will, of our city. To make sure that we're not only creating opportunities and jobs, but also the opportunity to bring economy and excitement to our city as well. So I think we're on the right track. We need to keep this momentum going. We need to fight. We need to win. Correct? So I'm going to bring up our speaker, our next speaker, and I believe he's up front here, Walt Rowan from Lancaster, a small business owner. Going to have him come up and speak on our behalf. Yeah, please give him a round of applause.
Good afternoon. So my name is Walt Rowan, and I'm the owner of Susquehanna Glass Company. We're a small business in Columbia, Pennsylvania, which is about, well, you all know where we're at. I live in downtown Lancaster, so I'm an urban kind of guy. And as I said, I own a small business. It's been around for a while. It's 114 years old. Started by my grandfather and his brother in the house, and then they moved to the garage, and then they built the factory behind the garage, and that's where we are today. And we are a part of our community in Columbia. And, in this political world that we live in today, there's certain things that are true and certain things that are just not true. One of the things that is just not true is that Republicans always get business guys on their side. I refuse to believe that's true. And I'll tell you why. Good business people basically do things every day, day in and day out. The small businesses of Main Street, USA, are the barbershops and the bakeries that get up in the morning, go in, open the doors, and get their customers in. If you're going to be a successful business person, you've got to rely on processes. You've got to rely on hard work. You can't rely on fancy words and promises that never come true. You've got to be honest. You've got to be doing it every day, and you've got to work hard. I am never more proud than I am today to be called a Democrat. Right? In the Democratic Party, so we started this election and everybody was saying this is a terrible election, we don't like the choices. I happen to love Joe Biden. I think Joe Biden is one of the most decent, most hardworking, most talented politicians we've ever had, and we know that from the results we've seen that maybe weren't like, bam, there's a result. The results he's given us are processes that are going to keep building over time. I'm driving in on the PA Turnpike. The PA Turnpike is a constant series of construction. Why? Because Joe Biden understood that when you spend America's money on investment, when you invest in America, we all win. We all win, right? Joe Biden is one of my favorite presidents. But the fact was, America wasn't happy with what we were being asked to choose from. And you know what happened? All of us Democrats from Joe all the way down through, recognized that was true. And we shifted. We made a change. And that's the other thing that business guys do. One of the things that is guaranteed in business, change. It's not going to be the same tomorrow than it is today. If you're going to be successful in business, you keep changing. That's what we've done. We changed and we got Kamala. Oh my God. Talk about hard work, talk about processes, talk about promises based in reality, not based in bullshit, right? She is down to earth. She is hardworking. Think about, okay, I have two pet peeves in business right now. One is healthcare. And I'm not going to go into it but honest to God, what will happen is Donald Trump gets back in the... No, we're not going to even talk about that. He's not going to get back in there. Obamacare has saved small businesses for our people and our health care. That's one. The second one for me, because I run a factory and I have to employ people. And I'm telling you, right now in America, America's economy is exploding. There's something like 90 million brand new businesses. And there is not enough of a workforce to fill all the jobs today. The great lie about immigration is that there's a crisis at the border. It's not a crisis at the border, it's a crisis of jobs and filling those jobs. We don't have criminals coming over, we have potential workers. All we need to do in processes, which is what Kamala Harris understands, is to change the idea that if you want to come, you want a job, get a green card and come on in because we need you. We're not going to talk about rapists because that's just not true. So, we are going 2 days from, no, actually it's not even 2 days, it's a day and a half, right? We're going to go to the polls and we are going to elect Kamala Harris. The next guy is, you're going to love this guy, Stuart Butterfield. He is an IT entrepreneur, and I am one of his customers because he was a developer of Flickr and Slack technology, and in my business, I use Slack. Everybody loves it. Stuart, get up here.
Hello, thank you for welcoming me to Philadelphia. 2 days left. I'm going to make this really boring. So, not about who's eating dogs, not about who's a fascist, not about democracy at stake. There's 2.5 million small businesses in the United States. I know that because I looked it up on the Small Business Administration website. And that may seem like a little thing, but it's part of a big system that creates a level playing field and opportunity for everyone. Now, I started Slack 2012, started building in 2013, we launched in 2014. By 2019, we were public. 2021, it was bought by Salesforce. There was 1,000 employees at Slack who, in addition to their salary and benefits, made $1 million or more in stock options, stock-based compensation. And that was a very diverse group of people from all over the country, and many of them from all over the world, who came here because of that opportunity. When I say the boring thing, it's trust. Some of you remember that speech that Obama gave in 2012, "We didn't build that." Do people remember that? Yeah. And people remember, I hope, the context. That was about the roads and the bridges. It was also about the government-funded research that created the internet. And I've been, have the good fortune to be tremendously successful in business because I'm smart and I'm hardworking, but mostly because I had good teachers, I had good parents, I belonged to a good system. There were reports and good contracts. And one of the big reasons was I started college literally months before that government-supported research that created the internet opened up the internet for commerce solutions. It's just like incredible good timing and incredible good fortune. But one of the reasons we were so successful is because contracts were enforced, people could trust each other, investors could put money in, we could sign contracts with other businesses, they could trust that we were going to support them. And the thing that scares me the most about a Trump candidacy and a Trump presidency is that erosion of trust. In the systems, not trusting judges, not trusting police, not trusting each other. It's really scary, because when you see what happens to countries where that trust evaporates, it's almost impossible to get back. And it took us as human beings thousands of years to get to the point where we had some base level civilization. It took this country hundreds of years, by no means perfect, but to get to the point where in the middle of the last century, it was undeniably the place with the greatest opportunity for businesses, the place with the best academic and scientific research, the place with the most trusted institutions. And I can feel the impulse, I can understand some of the frustration when things don't go our way, but the solution is not to burn it down. And it feels really weird for me also as a lifelong Democrat to be on the conservative side, of not wanting to burn everything down, not wanting to destroy everything, not wanting to dismantle the government. It's actually pretty fucking scary to me to imagine what could happen when we elect someone who's only out for himself and doesn't really care what the ramifications are. A lot of people in my position, I shouldn't say a lot. Several people in my position have come out supporting Trump this year, which is also pretty terrifying. And I understand, in many cases, it's also an act of economic self-interest. But the damage that threatens those 2.5 million small businesses, the livelihoods of tens and 63 million people across this country, is profoundly dangerous. And I gotta say, I felt a little down 10 weeks ago, whatever it was, about our prospects. We hosted a fundraiser for Governor Walz at our home in New York. And it was pretty incredible. This was a week after he was first announced. And it made me feel good to see someone who's been a public servant his whole life, who stood up for fairness, who's been just someone who wants to contribute. And I see that same spirit in Kamala. I see that same spirit here today. So I just want to say, one of the best things we could do for not just the future of the country, for the future of businesses, for the future of the economy, for the future that supports all of us, is to elect Harris and Walz. Day after tomorrow. I'm so sorry. Didn't bring up any notes, so I forgot. And I'm supposed to be introducing Priscilla Sims Brown, CEO and President of Amalgamated Bank.
Thank you. First of all, how many business people are in this room? How many people? That's what I heard. That's what I thought. That's great, because you're the people we should be talking to. My name is Priscilla Sims Brown. We are a commercial bank in New York, Washington, D.C., Boston, and San Francisco. But I'm in Philadelphia. Been here since 1999. I really feel something special going on in Philadelphia, don't you? It's really nice. Now, we're not only a commercial bank, we're the largest bank for the Democratic Party. Everybody from ActBlue, D-Trip, any of those, as well as every candidate. Every candidate. Don't get mad about that. Every candidate from Biden right on down to the county commissioners, the whole ecosystem, as well as we are the bank for social justice, racial justice, other small businesses, B Corps like us. And why? Why would we do that? Why would we specialize in that? It's because we understand that this economy, as well as this society, depends on progressive change makers just like many of you, or you wouldn't be here today. Now, why are we supporting Harris? We're supporting Harris because we know that she understands the concerns and the issues that you care about, and that the people that you employ and the people you have in your family care about. For homeowners, we think it's important that homeowners have a chance. We don't have a housing problem. What we have is people who are passionate enough and care enough to provide housing. Everybody wants the same thing. We all want to be able to work hard and have a decent place for our families to come home to every day, right? And so it matters to me that she is going to be providing $25,000 for first-time home buyers. It matters that small businesses will receive tax credit. Does that matter to you? Do you think that removing a whole slice of the population and saying they can't come in the country and therefore they can't work is a problem? Does it matter to you that people can be employed no matter what they look like, where they come from, if they've got the talent and the skill and can do the work or can be taught to do the work? They should be able to be in this country and be employed. Doesn't that matter? These are basic things. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. These things matter. These people are coming here because they want a chance at that, right? And then there's some other basics. There's the basic of health care. It matters to me that the price of prescriptions in this country be affordable to those who have health problems and can't otherwise afford those prescriptions. Doesn't that matter? These are so common sense that it's hard to believe that we have a race that's as tight as it is. And there's only one way to solve it. The anxiety I feel, and I'm sure you feel, over the other possibilities of he who should not be named, that anxiety is solved and cured only one way: vote. And everyone in this room not only votes, but you employ people that you're asking to vote. And now, with only a short time left, you've got to tell every single person. A woman looked at me very strange yesterday at the grocery store when I asked her, do you have a plan to vote? As I'm walking past. Be that annoying person. You know, the person who, when you knock on the door, says, 5 damn people have been here. Can you guys just stop texting me? Be that annoying person. Send that extra text. Ask that extra person. Talk to your employees. Give them the time off if they need it. Get people to the polls if you have to. There's only one way that you are going to be able to sleep at night, and for the next 4 years, you won't be turning off the television every time you see somebody orange. It will be because you not only voted, but you got other people to get out and vote. Thank you. Because he's a New Yorker that runs a very important asset management business, but he's also doing some really cool things in Philadelphia. His name is John Ria. Come on, John.
Thanks, Priscilla. Good afternoon, everyone. It's fantastic to be here with all of you, and it's rooms like this that give me hope and excitement about what's going to happen on Tuesday. We're going to win this one. As Priscilla said, I'm not from Philadelphia, and I don't live here. But 2 things. She mentioned one of them, which is I'm part of a very exciting development in a very high-cost area of Philadelphia where we're building 150 units of affordable housing, I see my good friend Kevin Jeremiah, who's here, who runs the Philadelphia Housing Authority, and just partners like that to make sure that Philadelphians can live close to jobs and close to good schools and in communities that we all would be proud of. So I just want to say I feel connected to this community. 2, I'm from Detroit. And Philadelphians and Detroit have something in common. We are hard workers, we're proud, and we fight for what we believe in. And right now, Detroit and Philadelphia are going to deliver Kamala Harris to the presidency. I'm very fortunate to have known Vice President Harris for 15 years, and so I'm here to say a couple of things. First and foremost, the thing that impresses me the most about her is she is an incredibly hard worker. I'm sure you all have seen that on the campaign trail. We've certainly seen it in the almost 4 years that she's been in office as the vice president. She's traveled all over this country, all over the world to represent America's interests and to ensure that all Americans participate in the American dream. And I have nothing but the utmost respect for the way she gets at it and learns the issues that are important to us in order to do the work that we all know is so important and is ahead of us. And one of those is understanding the issues of the economy, the issues of business owners, whether that's chief executives of large companies, whether it's folks like Stuart who do startups, or whether it's like many of us in this room who are also small business owners, which I also happen to be one. So what do I want to leave with you are a few things. Number one, she knows that entrepreneurs and small business owners and middle income and working families are the backbone of this economy. We agree with that? And if you look at her priorities, she reflects that in everything she talks about, but also what she's putting forward as an agenda. And some of it was mentioned already in terms of wanting to provide families with a chance to get ahead. Those families that patronize our businesses will have more money in their pockets. How she wants to extend the child tax credits and even increase them. She wants to make sure that anyone making less than $400,000 has a tax break. That puts money in working families' pockets that put money into our businesses to allow us to thrive. Two, she wants to make tax credits available to small business owners. We all know with those tax credits we can invest more in the services and the products that we deliver to our communities and to our customers. So she gets it. We need supports, but we can do the work when people invest in us. But she also understands that government and the private sector have to do it together. It's not one or the other. All of us who started businesses or grow businesses or finance businesses, we know how important the public sector's policies are in terms of whether we flourish or whether we have red tape in front of us that make it very difficult for us to feel confident about investing more and hiring more employees and extending the opportunities that we've had to others. And so she knows that public-private partnerships are going to be a huge piece of what allows this economy to broaden out and to continue to accelerate. She's also taking over, she will be taking over at a time when, look, the economy is in good shape, and I'm actually so disappointed that somehow Donald Trump has been given the mantle of he's better for the economy. I mean, where does that come from? I mean, we have, we're at record GDP. We are, let's clap for it. We're inflation that's back to levels that we haven't seen in not just the past 4 years, but even prior to when Donald Trump was in office and prior to Donald Trump being in office. We have interest rates that are back down into areas that are below long-term historical averages. We have one of the lowest unemployment rates in history, certainly in the environment. So as I look at an economy that is on solid footing, passing the baton to someone who believes deeply in extending opportunity to a broader set of Americans and continuing to invest in small business owners and continuing to understand that she's not about, is it a progressive idea that's going to work and put money in families' pockets and allow more businesses to open, or is it a conservative idea that's going to do that? She is a pragmatist and she wants to know, will it work? And if it works, she's going to support it, and she's going to support it because she knows it's good for the people that we love and who we call the communities that we live in, support, and to support us. Thank you so much. Let's get out and vote. And I want to pass the mic, as they say, to Nesta Torres, who's both a founder and Latino business owner and leader. And in addition to that, he's a chamber leader. Nesta, turn it over to you.
I'm going to try to be quick, keep the program going, but I'm going to be intentional. So first and foremost, I want you to repeat after me. Huepa! Huepa! All right. So if you're wondering what that is, so for me, Huepa means, it's a term that we generally use to express excitement and joy in my Puerto Rican culture. So my name is Nestor Torres, and I'm the founder of Maragon Consulting Group, small business in Philadelphia, and I'm the vice chair of the Greater Philadelphia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Today, I come before you as a small business owner in this economic landscape, in this political landscape. And we're here because we got some very important critical paths to take on. The Vice President has made strengthening the economy for everyone and helping people get their businesses off the ground a core component of her economic vision. What I would tell you is, when it comes to having an economic impact, Latinos are far more than just consumers. We are an entrepreneurial force. Latinos are starting businesses at 3 times the rate of any other demographic group, outpacing all groups. And females, Latinas, are leading the way. Did you know that in the US there's nearly 5 million Latino-owned businesses that generate over $800 billion in revenue annually? In Pennsylvania alone, we have over 45,000 Latino and Hispanic-owned businesses, with almost half of them calling Philadelphia home. The opportunity cost of not voting for Harris and Walz would set back small businesses and the average family more than the thousands of dollars per year because of the national sales tax wanting to be implemented. In short, unchecked consolidation of power in business does not work. Monopolies and monopolistic tendencies do not work. They don't allow small businesses to thrive. Finally, I'm a loving American, a humble Pennsylvanian, and a proud Philarican. Raised in the inner cities, what I would say El Barrio of Philadelphia, first-generation college graduate, graduating magna cum laude. Oh, by the way, that's Latin for graduating with great distinction. And a successful business owner. This is a testament that we are hardworking people, we are community leaders, and we are small business owners and providers, and we will show up on the polls on Tuesday, November 4th. Saying, remember, one person's garbage is another person's treasure. So Philly, let's turn the page of the chaos and the division and unlock this brighter, optimistic, and opportunistic future with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. I have the pleasure of introducing our Madam Mayor, Cheryl Parker.
Listen, I was back there getting warm and fuzzy, and after you created something different here, he said he's a Philarican. Listen, give it up for all of the previous speakers, Walt Rose, Priscilla Sims Brown, Nestor Torres, and John Reed. Listen, I had the distinct honor and privilege of standing before you today as the first woman mayor in 341 years. Of our great city of Philadelphia, 6th largest city in the nation, birthplace of democracy. And part of the way that I was able to get here is I didn't pay any attention to polls. You hear me? Why do I come out here and start that way with you all? In no way, shape, or form should any of us ever forget that our support for the Harris-Walz team, believe me when I tell you, we are still in underdog mode. I'm feeling the energy that's on the ground, and everywhere I go, I started at church this morning, canvassing in the Northeast with other candidates. The energy is palpable, but I'm a realist. And I know that there is something else going on somewhere else where some other people are excited about some other things that I may not be in support of. And that's why I'm here on today to make a special plea to each of you, the business leaders, the thought leaders, the opinion leaders, the job creators, the folks who understand how important it is for us to ensure that Kamala Harris becomes the 47th President of the United States of America. Our faces in the Senate, because you can't send the President and the Vice President to the White House without sending them some help in the United States Senate. It's not that cool, but not there, okay? But you also understand this from the perspective of being business leaders. And when people have asked me from a substantive perspective, what excites you about the Harris-Walz team, I immediately begin to talk about the opportunity economy. Why is it? It's not until you begin to not drive through a neighborhood, but when you get out the car and you knock on doors and you begin to hear people talk about the fact that a gallon of milk right now is between $6 and $7. When they talk about a loaf of bread being $4, and then some of us who are products of humble beginnings like myself, we begin to think about what that means to the men and women who are trying to make ends meet on a daily basis. And so when you hear our Vice President talk about an opportunity economy that just doesn't allow people to just get by, but an economy that allows them to be equipped with the tools that is access to economic opportunity that will help them get ahead, that is what we have to be excited about. Listen, I'm a mayor, and I'm a new mayor. I just arrived in January. First thing I did when I sat in the office, City Hall, I sat in a chair by myself and I looked around. And people said, well, how did you feel? It's historic. And I felt vulnerable. I felt vulnerable because I understood that although I had just personally achieved this historic milestone in this city, none of it mattered without intergovernmental cooperation and planning and support. Even this big vision that I had committed to the people, if they would support me, I would make Philadelphia the safest, cleanest, greenest big city in the nation with access to economic opportunity for all. And I realized that without the White House, in support of our agenda in Philadelphia, that none of the promises that I made would I ever be able to bring to fruition. Now, thankfully, because of the Biden-Harris team, Philadelphia has enjoyed over $1 billion in investments. And I just got here mass transit, clean water, clean energy, housing development, you name it. We've received significant in our airport, and we're working on those bathrooms. Okay? But the support that we need in order to get things done, we get that support. I've been excited about, and this is tangible, because you'll hear me when people say, and maybe they want you to romanticize it, I can't. I'm going to tell you exactly what I hear when I'm on the ground and talking to regular people. When you knock on their doors and you say, will you come out to vote? Have you voted by mail? Did you vote early? Will you be coming to the polls? And people want to know, what are they talking about? They're talking about things that ensures that they have a government that they can see, touch, and feel in their own lives. I know that may sound, what do you mean a government that you can see, touch, and feel? They want to feel safe in their neighborhoods. They want to see housing affordable and readily available in their communities. They want to see public schools thriving in neighborhoods where we have quality seats. I'm excited about the opportunity economy. Let me tell you why. We didn't say it, she said it. 3 million more units of affordable housing in the city of Philadelphia. In the nation, the this is meaningful to me. This was the first candidates forum that I participated in with the minority business community when I ran for mayor. And what we were talking about was supports for startups. Support for startups. So when you hear her talk about investing in that startup expense tax credit and ensuring that it gets expanded from $5,000 to $50,000. Now you're investing in innovation and intellectualism right here in the city, in our great Commonwealth, and across the nation. And when anybody tells you that they're betting on you, you can't bet on me shopping division. You can't bet on me trying to divide Americans using their race, class, socioeconomic status, zip code, sexual orientation or identity, and or religion. If you are banking on America and you believe that we truly are, and we are the greatest nation in the world, you gotta deliver some tangibles, and the damn concept of a plan just won't work for you. You gotta have some tangibles for me. Let me say to you that I have the distinct honor and privilege of introducing a gentleman who is the governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. But when he and I started, we were just young Turks, freshmen, in the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. But when you hear me talk about people desiring a government that they can see, touch, and feel, and you hear me talk about intergovernmental cooperation and planning, let me say this to you, Philadelphia. I want to make you this promise right now. If we do what we need to do and close that, do you remember 2016? Yeah. You remember when you woke up that next, you remember when you woke up? I'm sorry, it was visceral. My face probably just showed up just now, right? And I remember ultimately when they finished the count, it was 44,000 vote margin in 2016. We came back, because we are in Pennsylvania. We're the swingiest of all swing states in the nation, right? Let's keep it 1,000%, right? The swingiest of all swing states, and we have the most electoral votes at stake than any other swing state. But in 2020, we got it right. In 2020, the Biden-Harris team, they won Pennsylvania by 80,000 votes. 80,000 votes they won by. Guess, I don't care what pollster you talk to, what political expert you talk to, guess what they all agree? What was the common factor in 2020? The fact that Philadelphia, Bucks, Chester, Delaware, and Moscow, we showed up and we showed out. We are going to, and I mean this, when we deliver Harris Waltz and put them in the White House, when we ensure that Bob Casey goes back to that United States Senate, and that our governor, Josh Shapiro, is leading the way here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I want you to know there is nothing that we can't do here in Philadelphia, and we will make it the safest, cleanest, greenest big city in the nation with economic opportunity for all, because we'll have a team to get it done. My name is Sherelle Parker. I am the woman.
to have her leading the way. It is good to be here. This is a business that we in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, we are proud to support what is happening right here in this community. Good things are happening in this Black-owned business here in the city of Philadelphia. And we are meeting, yes, you should clap. We're meeting together with 2 days to go until this most pivotal election. And I know some of our fellow Philadelphians, some of our fellow Pennsylvanians haven't really made up their minds yet. They're still trying to figure it out. A few of you are shaking your heads going, how is this possible? But the truth is, it's now on all of you to do this hard work to help people understand what is at stake in this election. What kind of nation that we want to be. What kind of person we want leading us. And who's going to look after our friends and neighbors. You know, every day as your governor, I'm focused really primarily on doing two things. First is fighting for your freedoms. And second, we live by 3 letters, GSD. We're focused on getting stuff done for the good people of Pennsylvania. And I think at the end of the day, this election now is a referendum on those 2 things. Which presidential candidate is really for our freedoms? And which presidential candidate is going to get stuff done for all of us? Let's start with GSD. Let's start with getting stuff done. Kamala Harris has a clear plan to cut taxes for small business owners. A clear plan to invest in places like this that are spurring on community. A clear plan to be able to cut taxes for the middle class. To be able to help parents afford childcare. Or parents be able to take care of an elderly parent in their home so they can age with dignity. When you look at this from an economic perspective, there is a clear choice in Kamala Harris. She's someone who's going to make our economy hum, and someone who's going to help make sure that when you're sitting around the kitchen table, that you're going to be better off because Kamala Harris is president. On the other side, Donald Trump, his economic policy is all about giving his buddies a tax cut, screwing over most of you in this room, and making it harder for us in Pennsylvania. Remember, I need a partner in governing in the White House. I'm going to get as much stuff done for all of you that we're getting done. Whether it's fixing I-95 in just 12 days, by the way. That doesn't happen without partners like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, making sure quite literally we have the dollars to be able to do that work. Helping make us the clean energy capital of the world right here in Pennsylvania. That's because of the investment that's coming from the Biden-Harris administration. Connecting everybody to high-speed, affordable internet. We got 267,000 Pennsylvania homes and businesses. Without it, thanks to Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, we are now in a position to connect everybody to the internet. That means better healthcare outcomes, better education outcomes. It means better opportunities for small business owners. I need a partner who wants to work with us to deliver. Donald Trump is not that partner. Kamala Harris is. And so as we spend these next 48 hours or so, and you come across that neighbor who might not know where they're going, tell them about their self-interest. Tell them if they care about their small business, if they care about cutting costs, if they want a tax cut, you tell them Kamala Harris is the person to deliver that. And Donald Trump is the person that wants to take that away from them. We've got a clear choice when it comes to that and how we want to grow our economy. And I'm telling you, as your governor, I need Kamala Harris to help me be able to deliver for all of you. On freedom, a fundamental issue, not just in this election, but a fundamental issue to all of us as Pennsylvanians, because of course, this is where it all started. Right here in the city of Philadelphia, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We know Donald Trump's record. When he was in charge before, quite literally, millions of women lost their fundamental freedom to make decisions over their own bodies. He took away freedom. Kamala Harris throughout her career has been fighting for more freedom for us. By the way, make her president, we'll codify Roe and give women the ability Kamala Harris has always worked to create more freedom, more justice, more opportunity. You know how I know that? Not just from her record, but what's in her heart. And I have known her for 20 years. She and I have grown up in this business of public service together. I know what makes her tick. I know what she cares about. When she says, I'm here for the people, that is real. Whether it's on economic policy or it's on our fights for freedom, she is the real deal. Listen, I know you'd expect me to say all these things. I know you expect me to be for her. Let me just take a minute to close here. I'm not talking about Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, but I want to talk about all of you and the responsibility that we have as Pennsylvanians to do this important work right now, to elect a good and honorable and decent public servant to lead our Commonwealth and our country forward. Here in Pennsylvania, we have an outsized role to play in who's the next president of the United States. This may be the only thing that Kamala Harris and Donald Trump agree on, is that as Pennsylvania goes, so goes the future of our nation. And so you got a lot of power in this conversation. You got a lot of power to be able to decide what kind of nation we want to be. I would argue that more than any policy, economic or otherwise, the real question you have to ask yourself, the real question you've got to ask your undecided neighbors, either undecided because they don't know which way they're voting or they're trying to decide whether to vote at all, is what do we value? I think we should value, as we always have as Pennsylvanians, decency, inclusion, tolerance, justice, freedom. Not to get too wonky on you or anything, but yeah, I'm the governor of Pennsylvania, and there is a direct line between me, the office I am privileged to occupy on your behalf now, and William Penn, who founded this Commonwealth. Now, it's been a while, but remember, William Penn founded this Commonwealth on the promise of religious tolerance, on the promise of inclusion. Now, I'm not sure Penn ever imagined I'd be standing in a black-owned business as a Jewish governor talking to all of you about an AAPI woman who wants to be the president of the United States. The future, but listen, he'd be proud of that. I'd like to think he'd be proud of that. We have a responsibility to continue that. And we have a stark choice in this election. A person who wants to lift everybody up, and a person who wants to create others in our society. I think at the end of the day, I see some kids here. I know we got some parents here. Lori and I are blessed to have 4 amazing kids of our own. This election really comes down to a basic lesson. And young man in the back, you can tell me if I'm right about this, okay? A basic lesson we all try to teach our kids. I was at church this morning, so I'll cite scripture. It's from Leviticus. Love thy neighbor, right? It doesn't matter how you worship, where you go, or what you believe. But if you love thy neighbor and you teach your children that, then everything else, as you said, you'll be all right. I want a president who loves thy neighbor. I want a president who, no matter what you look like or where you come from, who you love or who you pray to, wants to lift all of us up. That's going to make us strong. That's going to make us strong. And I would argue we have the responsibility to do this work. We have the responsibility to make this happen on behalf of the rest of the nation. We got a lot of people watching this. From the U.S. Senator from District of Columbia, Paul Strauss, who's here, to folks all across this country who are looking to us to see whether or not we're going to meet this moment, whether we're going to live out Penn's teaching, and whether we're going to heed the words of Ben Franklin after he signed the Constitution. Franklin signed the Constitution, you'll remember, 248 years ago, just down the road in Independence Hall. And when he came out onto those cobblestone streets of Philadelphia, he was greeted by a fellow Philadelphian. A woman walked right over to Franklin. Think about this for a moment. Women didn't have the right to vote at that moment. Certain folks in this room quite literally didn't count in this nation. But the beauty of what Franklin and the other founders did was they set us on this path of self-determination, and they began the work, knowing that we had a lot more room to grow and a lot more work to do. We know this because after Franklin signed the Constitution, and the woman walks over to him and says, "Hey, Mr. Franklin, what do we have here, a monarchy or a republic?" Franklin looked her in the eye and said, "We have a republic, if you can keep it." Those 5 words, "if you can keep it," Pennsylvania, that has been our charge. That's been now our responsibility to keep it. And part of keeping the republic is perfecting it, is making it more inclusive and tolerant and free and just. And now, the task falls to us, not just because, as the mayor said, we're the swingiest of all swing states, but because it's in our blood here as Pennsylvanians to do this hard work, to perfect our union, and to keep our republic, as has been our challenge for the last 2.5 centuries, to build a place that's tolerant and just and free and open and wonderful. Part of the way we do that is by electing leaders who share our values, leaders like Kamala Harris, who want to get stuff done for all of us. This is our moment, Philly. This community knows how to win elections. But I'm asking you to think about this not just as in a normal election, but think of it as your responsibility as a Philadelphia, as a Pennsylvania, to do this hard work. To win an election, yes, but most importantly, to keep our republic moving forward in a free and open way. I love serving as your governor. I am so damn grateful you've given me this honor. I need a partner in the White House to govern with. That partner in progress is Kamala Harris. We got work to do, Philly. Let's get it done.